Good morning. How you going? How you been? I'm back. You miss me? Probably not. That's fine. I don't blame you because most of the time the stories that I'm doing on here are not that great and no one wants to talk about it or hear it. But today's a good day. I want to share with you saying it's a landmark. It's some basic knowledge which has been acknowledged by the English government. So the NHS has declared today that sex is biological. If no shit, like that's the like everybody knows that, right? But we're here at a place where we have to say that. And one place where it really makes a difference is the hospital. They need to know what biology you are. You can't have a fake reality when you go to the hospital. As much as you want to live it in your head as another sex, doctors need to know. So what this means is it's a start. It's a start in reclaiming reality, sanity, and for women's rights, which is one of the most important things for me. I mean, lots of people are crazy when it comes from the top government bodies making us all think and act that we believe the same thing. No, that's why I do these videos. I'm not going to do that. And I know how difficult it is for people to stand up and talk about this because they'll force you with so much hate and backlash that you just think it's not worth it. Let me just live my quiet life. No, for me, I can't do that. I'm sorry. When you're entering men into women's spaces and women's sports, and you're doing irreversible medical treatments on children for no reason, healthy children, and all the evidence is against it. Now, finally, we've got the CAS review, which I did speak about the WPATH files in other videos of mine. I will do a separate video that's quite deep. And when you've got all this information coming out now, from reputable government bodies outside of the whole trans activism, finally, people are starting to come out and talk and stand up and say, hey, put a halt on things. And Australia, you need to get in line. You need to do it right now, quickly. Don't be the last ones in this race. Honestly, all the information is there now. Don't be fools like our stupid Prime Minister. Oh, wow, lots been going on. Hey, that's another story for another day. Albo and Elon Musk and censorship in Australia, that's another story. We'll get there. Anyway, I digress.
They have this constitution, basically, which is about how staff and patients get treated. And now what they want to build into this, previously, in 2021, they essentially said that when you go into the hospital, you should be respected on the gender that you identify as. Now, what they're saying that all of that should be essentially replaced with the fact that sex is biological and you should be treated as such, i.e. if you're a female, you're in a female ward, and vice versa.
Yeah, it seems like the most basic of common sense. And we can laugh at it, and it is stupid, and it is funny because this is so ridiculous. But there is a serious undertone to this, which is that the NHS is meant to be an institution based in science, reason, fact, and trust. You're meant to be able to trust that doctors, nurses, and the administration that runs around the NHS knows exactly what it's doing and is doing the best for its patients. And this interjection in 2021 of sort of the gender wars coming into the NHS and the nonsense that you would have people who are men who are biologically male but say they are trans women sleeping or indeed being treated in women-only wards or things like that, that was a reality that could have happened was, I think, an atrocious overstep and a sort of politicisation of an institution that wasn't necessary. There's the safety question to this. There's also sort of just a privacy and dignity question to this. It's bad enough having to share a ward with other women, all walking around in a gown with your backside hanging out, it would be unconscionable to ask women to do that if they knew that there was a man in the bed next to them. So there's, I think the other element of this is, if the NHS doesn't know that sex is biological, in fact, how has it been, administering blood tests, treating people for cancer, doing all the stuff that you need to do? They knew this already. They were lying when they said that they didn't in 2021.
Quentin?
It just shows that elite you were talking about has quite a few nut jobs in it. Well, this has to be reasserted. Doctors given biology lesson and not liking it either. Not liking it. There's some pushback from the NHS Confederation on this. A man called Matthew Taylor is quoted in the copy, and he's saying, this is just culture wars, and we need to avoid this at a time of political approaching election. It doesn't say, though. It does not say. In the story, it doesn't point out that Matthew Taylor used to be a Labour Party spin doctor. I'd have thought that might have been a relevant fact. This is all to do with the NHS constitution. I didn't even know that the NHS had a constitution, some sort of legal document. And it's every 10 years they look at the NHS constitution, they try to work out whether this great document has to be altered. I mean, why do we have to why don't we just use common sense instead of an NHS constitution?
It's, because
maybe it's because of the lawyers, I know.
Well, no, because campaign groups and lobbying groups really successfully infiltrated all aspects of public life, from schools to healthcares to the legal proceedings, and they've been very, very successful. I can tell you now, there's a joint statement that was issued. It won't surprise you to know that not everybody was happy about this. This statement was issued by a collection of Gendered Intelligence, the Kite Trust, Mermaid, Stonewall, LGBT Foundation, so on and so forth. They say everyone deserves timely access to holistic, high-quality healthcare and to be treated with dignity, privacy and respect throughout their treatment and care. They go on to say that trans, non-binary and intersex people face already significant barriers and inequality when accessing NHS care, and they go on to point out that this is a consultation which closes on the 25th of June, and they want everyone to get involved and make their feelings known about that. They are very concerned about it.
I think that there's a real terrible slandering of NHS staff going on in responses like that. There's this sort of picture painted that before the NHS made its pronouncements on being, gender non-binary or having, gender-neutral language and things like that every nurse and doctor that ever saw a trans person was horrible and didn't respond to them and didn't call them what they wanted. That just isn't the case, that we do not have some kind of pandemic of transphobic staff in the NHS. So if I was an NHS staff worker, I feel really aggrieved at that picture that's being painted. But there's also a sort of, there has to be a reckoning with reality here, which is that if you are a trans patient going into access care in the NHS, there is a difference between you being treated with dignity like anyone else and, the name that you have being used and all the rest of it, which staff already do. But then when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of where you will sleep on a ward or what blood test you will be given, what treatment you are being given, you have to come to reckoning with the reality that is that you are either male or female in a biological sense, no matter what you might call yourself. And I think we have to get more honest with people to say that's something you're going to have to face up to in the limited circumstances of healthcare. Let's help you deal with it, rather than living in this fantasy that biological sex doesn't ever matter at all.
Well, there you go. What do you make to it all? I find it absolutely bonkers. Your thoughts, get in touch. GB Views at GB News.
Okay, guys, well, that's it for now. I want to wake up on a good note, start the day with a good story, feeling nice, and not stressing my brain out or anyone else's with all the troubles of the world, because it's crazy. I'd rather laugh than cry. I love to laugh, so let's get back to that. I'm sick of being sad and upset about all the idiots that are running the world right now. That's the nicest word that I can pick up telling you, because there's no other way to describe it. This is new times of rampant mental health issues from the top. People have lost their minds, honestly. And it's nicer to see that. Oh, but they also got the super woke Prime Minister of Scotland, who's just resigned. And, he's been very strong with trying to erase women and removing women's rights and all on this whole trans bandwagon. And sports and many different things. So I'm glad that he's gone. And hate speech laws, that's the next video I'm going to get onto with our stupid Prime Minister, and his Elon Musk and his stories that he's trying to inject into society to take away our rights, basically, to what we can watch. We're babies. We cannot watch violence. We can't watch someone being punched in the face or anything. We need our government to coddle us, apparently, all of a sudden. Anyway, that's another story for another day. Oh, the world's going crazy. I'm like, my trip away and away from the computer and society was definitely needed, I think. I feel super refreshed coming back, and even more ready to tackle all this rubbish now. So let's go. All right, guys, enjoy your day. Take care. Love you. Bye. Oh, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. It helps out the video. It helps out the channel. I don't know, algorithms and all this sort of crap. This doesn't get seen by anyone except for my friends and family, but it would be nice to be able to spread this message a bit more. So if you're down for that, help a girl out. All right, I'll be with you in the next one. Take care.